Hey everybody, it's TheLastRoboKy here, and it's time for the original Dawn of War. One of the best real-time strategy games ever made, the first Warhammer 40,000 real-time strategy game, as far as I'm aware. Pretty much one of Relic's masterpieces, and you can still find people playing it today. God knows I am, so there you go. I'm joined on this adventure by Coolguy.
Of course. Oh man, like we've gotten so many requests for us to go back and play this game. We've had a number of little impediments with it. Like it's been difficult to make it look good. It's been difficult to keep it compatible and blah blah blah. But like RoboKy figured it out, man. I could not be more fucking hyped.
Yeah, the internet solved a lot of problems for us, and I'm gonna suspect there's a lot of people who probably got some questions to ask regarding whether or not we'll do the expansions. Yes, we're gonna go through all the expansions. That's Winter Assault, Dark Crusade, and unfortunately Soulstorm.
Oh man, like he only told me about Winter Assault, dude. I gotta go back and brush up on the rest of that garbage now.
Oh, well, you know, Dark Crusade and Soulstorm are going to be users vote for who I play as, sort of thing. If you want to play along, you're welcome to, but I believe I will be suffering through that the best I can, based on their decisions. So it's gonna be, it's gonna be a little bit of single campaign myself. This time, when we play Winter Assault, Coolguy and I are going to play the different sides, from our perspectives. And then Dark Crusade, I'm going to let user votes ruin my existence. Same with Soulstorm, especially with Soulstorm. Soulstorm will ruin my existence.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah.
Who get there? But for now, we've got the absolutely lovely single-player campaign for Dawn of War that really just sort of sets the scene and sets the tone for this game, and indeed, like Warhammer 40,000 games in general. There had been some before this one, but there was never really ones that nailed the tone quite as well in a more modern context. Like there are some good older ones, some good older turn-based ones, but this is the good shit. And with that, we're just gonna hop straight in.
Lego!
Hold the line! In the name of the Emperor, you will not falter! We can't hold! Run for your lives! Cowards! You will fight, or you will die.
I am Captain Gabriel Angelos of the Blood Ravens 3rd Company. Status.
My lord, forgive me. We have done all we can to stop the orcs, but we have failed. My men's lives are yours.
You stood your ground in the face of the Emperor's foes. You've done your duty. If your men have failed you, I will leave their judgment in your hands.
Thank you, my lord.
I am not here for your thanks. This port must be held if we are to maintain troops and supply lines to the planet's surface. That is why we are here. Now, what of the wounded and the civilians?
Stranded. We have few ships.
Then you shall have more. All Blood Raven flights execute Protocol 23 and initiate civilian evacuation. We will dispatch the ground forces.
Yes, my lord.
Ground forces, my lord. But the orcs have retreated.
You must know your enemy to defeat them, Colonel. Orcs only retreat to regroup. They will keep coming until you or they are dead. Brothers, let us destroy this alien filth.
with that, the game drops us into the tutorial. And yeah, this is I love this game. I've sunk so many hours into this game, and there is so much to talk about in this game's mechanics. It is a simple RTS at heart, but it goes deep, so deep.
Frontline battle headquarters is currently being assembled. We should proceed with caution until it is finished.
Yeah, so one of the big things about Dawn of War and the subsequent sequels is that Dawn of War 2 and Dawn of War 3 had far less, and in the case of Dawn of War 2, no base building, and everyone hated that. And you can probably tell as we watch buildings come down as I call them in, why exactly that upset people so badly. Because they're such a great characterful little things, like the Space Marines just calling them down from deep strike in orbit. And then the little servitors come out and, like, you know, basically unpack the box that's been shot down from space.
That will allow us to call down more Space Marine squads.
And I'll take this moment to talk a little bit about the fundamentals of the RTS, because obviously in RTS there are two very important resources that you have to keep track of. One is the resources that you spend, the other is the troops that you have. All of that's up in the top left-hand corner of the screen. The upper top left is requisition. We have to capture points in order to increase that. The bottom left of it is power. We will have to build generators, actual structures for that. Top right is how many troops we're allowed to build. That's our infantry cap, and the bottom right one is our vehicle cap.
These orcs, we will need
it's a very conventional RTS. We have our troop building and we're building the upgrading building now, the armory. The other amazing fundamental of Dawn of War is that when you construct a squad, you'll notice the dudes we just threw out, there's only 4 of them, but everybody else has 8. In Dawn of War, we can start. There's so much happening, and I have to get through it so quickly.
Shutting up so you can do it, dude.
Yeah. So
closest strategic point.
And Gabriel's just yelling about stuff. So these are the requisition points that we got to capture as well, which gives us the requisition points, and you can build listening posts on top of them as well, as the game will instruct us, in order to reinforce them and gain war points for upgrades. Now, as you can notice on the Space Marine squad at the moment, I've got like a little bit of menu of things I can build to customize my squads. The 2 plus signs adds more units to the squad, and I can choose to give them weapons. And the special weapons really change up how a squad will play. The Space Marines are basically the ideal early to mid-game unit. And it can even carry on fairly well in late game as support for like the late game units that Space Marines get in Dawn of War. They're basically, as you'd expect from Space Marines, ubiquitous, flexible, and tough as hell. And by giving them the special weapons, we've sort of unlocked another aspect of Dawn of War. With the heavy weapons, of course, you'll notice the little orange bar filling up. That takes time to do.
Nearby.
And so you've got to very carefully position your heavy units, because if they're caught on the hop, that's time you're spending not shooting things, and that can be pretty dangerous. The flamers that we have given the other squad, flame weapons perform a very interesting function in this game. Aside from ignoring cover, because cover is the thing in this game as well, but not quite the same as Dawn of War 2, you've got little like pockets of areas. You can see those little grots up there. They're hiding out in in cover, and so they'll take less damage while in there. Flamers ignore that, and also flamers do morale damage, because there's a morale system in this game, but it's not the same as the pinning system in Dawn of War 2 and things like that.
I exist to serve.
Essentially what happens is that when your morale breaks, your unit takes more damage, and they also die a lot quicker, but there's no button you can press to just like run them home. So you've got to be very careful, and just generally being fired at can do it, but flamers absolutely take the enemy's morale.
Yes, my lord.
One other last little point is that whenever I click on Gabriel Angelos, you'll notice that I have a little arrow attached. I honestly did not plan that, and I can use that to assign Gabriel Angelos to a unit. Also, I'm showing off the fact that we have stances in this game. Every unit can be assigned to either act in melee or in ranged combat. And indeed, you can tie up lesser enemy units in melee with Space Marines using melee and have the rest of them shoot it. Totally viable tactic. Kiting melee units is also a tactic. And then we've got the stances. We've got a stance where basically units will run out and chase down and shoot anything that comes close by, which is the default stance, and then they will return to where they were. There's a stance where they will basically just aggressively pursue the enemy no matter what, and will stay where they ended up. And there's one where you'll not move. Your troops will stand their ground and they'll just shoot anything that comes within range. The last stance is not shooting anything. I think I've gotten through everything. Have I missed something? I feel like
nope, that was the most of it. The only thing that I would add is that this squad-based mechanic is something that went out to a lot of other games basically after Dawn of War originally pointed out how helpful it was, and it gave both the designers a lot of flexibility in showing off how individual races should be handled, because like you have eight models for this Space Marine squad. That's wonderful. What happens when you have a more Zergy army like the orcs? You can have more models. I think a normal Slug-a-Boy squad in the base game can have up to 12 models. So it's really very flexible. And the other thing that I really have to gush about, even this early on, is how amazing the fucking sound design in this game is. Like it goes like the music is incredible, the sound effects are incredible, and the voice acting is incredible. I'm like even after like literal decades of loving Warhammer 40k, like the overall Space Marine aesthetic is still for me defined by how the Space Marines move and look and sound in this game. Like it just does it so wonderfully.
Yeah, captures the weight perfectly. And I should probably hasten to mention, as useful as just being able to right-click and get everything auto-built for you whenever you've got the money is in this game, as you can see me doing with that squad, be careful of that early on, because you usually end up bankrupt waiting for your money to fill up so you can like build more generators or listing posts or things, because oops, you forgot that you're trying to build like heavy bolters on a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, you can very easily get yourself messed up there. Oh,
very
yes.
easy to take your economy. Look at him go. Gabriel Angelos. We know him from Dawn of War 2 in our Let's Play.
The myth, the fucking legend.
He's fresh off of a very important event. And yeah, the Imperial Guard are here. We're on the planet Tartarus, and this is their defense force. The planetary defense forces are usually not as well equipped or trained as the Imperial Guard are. And as a result, that's why the Orc invasion has been going fairly effectively here, as they just don't really have the skill set required to properly defend against an incursion that's already, on a jungle planet. I mean, Tartarus is a jungle planet. Getting an Orcs out of a jungle planet is a lot like trying to pull cactus needles out of your ass when you've just like full butt slammed a cactus. Good luck. It hurts.
Yeah, I mean, reminder for those of you who might have been away for a while. Orcs are basically sentient fungi. So, like if you have a nook and cranny sort of world, like a what is it called? A jungle world? Yeah, like it's all pretty much impossible to eradicate a fungus out of that. And yeah, with regard to cover is omnidirectional in this game. You're either in cover or you're not, and there's no concept of weak or light cover, or weak or strong cover the way there was in Dawn of War 2.
Well, there is weak cover and strong cover, and the only way you really know which of those is when you mouse over it. And
Yeah.
there's also actually no cover. There's actually a type of terrain in this game where if you're in it and you get attacked, you take way more damage. You also move slower through it. It's usually like swamps and stuff. We'll see those in like later maps. So you see the little red rings that go around the enemies. That's them breaking because flamethrowers take the orcs very quickly.
Yep. And orcs don't have great morale to begin with, so you start putting things like flamers in their faces, and they're just like, nah. Nah, dog.
We're making a carpet of orc bodies too. It's pretty great. And it would behoove me to note that there's a lot of differences in even in the base constructions of the different armies. In this particular case, the Space Marines is very standard. You know, you've got your very standard buildings and everything like that. All orc buildings have guns on top of them. They're not always particularly powerful guns, but they're all guns. Also worth noting, the listening post that the orcs have there, they've upgraded it to put a gun on it. We don't have access to that yet. We'll get that in the next mission, as it drip feeds us all of our fun toys. But look, like that's an orc barracks there, and I love like just basically all the garbage, trash, and like huts with guns sitting on top of it. The level of detail for all the ramshackle orc buildings. This game was graphically just incredible at its time.
Everything out of the water at its time, and even all of these years later, it still looks great in terms of.
You can set the game to basically just never let any of the bodies disappear, and the game will run fine.
Mm-hmm. Like the big trepidation we had with regard to showing off the game was was just like its texture packs, like because when it came out, 1080p wasn't really a thing. Like 1080p was not a thing at all. So you can look at your GI Joes here in a much greater, finer, with a much finer hourglass or spyglass than you could back then, and it doesn't have the same impact. But God bless the internet. Like, people have gone through and made new packs, just make them look exactly as impressive as they did when it came out. It's just beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful.
This game is an absolute like labor of love. Not only with Relic's work on it, but it really encouraged people to get in on modding and things like that. And this game had no mod tools, and people still managed to make entire armies, like entire new factions, army overhauls. Like the most played mod, I believe, is the Apocalypse mod, which just makes everything bigger and crazier. God bless it. Gabriel Angelos is kind of a fun unit to use in this because Gabriel Angelos, if he dies at any point in the mission, just immediately respawns back in base. There's no cooldown. He falls over, and already another Gabriel Angelos beams down from the sky and goes, "I'm ready to fight."
Like Gabe will not be kept down. You can't keep a good man down, and he is the goodest man.
Yeah. You won't see any real tactical finesse at the beginning here either. It's a lot of attack moving for me because, you know, I don't actually have to try. The orcs don't have what they need to stand against Space Marines right now.
It's the first mission, okay? Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's cool. You'll also see me lose my mouse cursor and like bump the size of the screen trying to find it again a lot. Excellent. Just because
this
I don't know if it vanishes after a little bit of time or I'm just like super inattentive, but yeah. It's just a problem I've got. It's been so long since I played this game, but it's all coming back to me very quickly. So maybe by the end of it, I'll be pulling out some amazing stuff. And yeah, Lemon Russ, ladies and gentlemen, the ubiquitous super tank of the Imperial Guard, named after the Space Wolves Primarch.
Duty, sir.
And yeah, because we just rescued it, we get it now. For this mission.
Hell yes.
So we just get some boys to repair it, even though the orcs really won't ever actually damage it enough. The orcs do have like 1 or 2 tank busters in this, the orc anti-tank unit, but none of them actually have rockets. So we'll just repair it to make sure. And because it's a campaign-only thing, because the Imperial Guard weren't added until Winter Assault, this thing's broken as hell. So it was awfully nice of them to give it to us. Its main battle cannon can hit from like several screens away. It has 3 mounted heavy bolters on it that can fire on independent targets. I feel like it's probably something I should mention as well. Vehicles are really strong in this game for that reason, and they're also a little more accurate when firing on the move than infantry. Because yes, accuracy while moving is a thing in this game as well.
It is.
So forcing a unit to move even while they're firing makes them a lot less useful, as well as, you know, forcing entrenched heavy weapons to pull up and run away as well. there's a lot of nuance to the combat, and it's so good. I love it. I love just how much there is to this game, and it's so quick and easy to figure out.
This day shall be a glorious
It's all very visceral in how it feels as well. Like when you talk about, you know, firing on the move being less accurate. It's one of those things that I feel like everybody went into their first couple of games expecting to be a thing, but then the game that they picked up couldn't handle that level of granularity or something. God bless, I love that main cannon.
The map effect of just the ground.
It literally leaves a crater that you can now use as light cover. Just throwing that out there.
It is so good. This game, bang. The visual
you.
effects, the graphical effects is just so good in this game. The sound effects are so fantastic. This game is just...
And like this...
On alert. The enemy must be nearby.
Units get ragdolled when they're thrown. We might see a few custom animations here when some of the Space Marines... Yep, we've got some. Look at that guy pulling his knife out of the head of the orcs when you kill them in melee combat. There's like sync kills.
Sync
kills!
kills!
Sync kills are always been a bit of a contention in the Dawn of War games because units become invincible or like take extremely reduced damage while performing them. So it can often end up with like certain like heavy walker units just absolutely not dying because they keep just like blendering like one guy after another in a custom animation. It can be a little infuriating. And I'm just showing off here that you can also, with weapons like ordnance on battle cannons and things like that, you know, just tell them to shell a spot and they'll do it. And as you can see, he's still firing the heavy bolters on its turrets at passing orcs.
Opportunistic firing.
Yeah, I love it. I just love so much about this game. There's just... They've designed it so well. So much care and thought was put into this sort of stuff. It's really, really good.
Space Marines, advance!
And we're going to be getting to the end of it soon.
Yeah, I've wanted for us to be able to do this game for so long, and I'm so glad we're finally here.
Yeah.
Build routine 7.
It's Dawn of War has a really nice story that helps introduce all the factions in a fairly sensible, linear way. It was a little bit like getting into them one at a time. So we're going to be seeing orcs for I think the next 4 or 5 missions. And then we'll be meeting the other characters.
Yeah, like no prizes for figuring out what our next faction is, but you know we won't spoil it here just in case you're truly clueless, I suppose.
It's kind of funny. The order of appearance of the first two races matches the way it was done in Dawn of War 2 as well.
Oh Lord.
Look at it. See, like, that building we just blew up was an ammo dump for upgrading orc units and things like that. And that's Du Bois Hut. Orcs can hide in their own buildings too, which is like an interesting touch, and shoot out from it as well. So assaulting an orc base is actually kind of tricky.
Initializing build.
Like if the
just dagger you down.
Yeah, if the orc player has decided to take cover in his own buildings, you know, like you can face a true wall of Daka.
Victory is ours.
Yay!
I am honored to be in the presence of a librarian. I wish to know how my men can better serve you. We shall wait for the captain to finish his prayers. I saw you stand against the orcs. You are a brave man, Colonel. I wish I could say the same of your men. I shall strengthen their resolve, my lord. See that you do, or we shall do it for you. You have something you wish to say. Say it, Colonel. How did you know? Even without my psychic gifts, it is obvious. Speak. Is it true your company eradicated a heresy on the planet of Cyrene recently? An exterminatus, down to the planet's last man, woman, and child? Colonel, your company is welcome, but such questions are not. Do not ask the captain about Cyrene if you intend to remain in his good graces. Brother Captain, the Colonel wishes an audience with you.
Thank you, Isidore.
My lord, my Tartarus 37th Imperial Guard Regiment stand ready to serve you in protecting the city. They wish to make amends for...
They will have many opportunities to prove themselves warriors worthy of the Emperor. The Blood Ravens are leaving the city. Its protection is in your hands.
I will ready my men. May I ask what your next course of action is?
Orcs only respect strength. I intend to show them that we have it in ample supply. Excellent. This orc camp has been destroyed.
That just cracks me up that it did that. It's there is still a little old school jank in that game, and I love the animations where it's like everyone just sort of flips around to face one another. There's no like turning animation or anything. They just
everybody has whiplash in Warhammer 40k. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
That's why they've all got those big neck guards on their on the power armor and the high collars for the Imperial Guard. So yes, this establishes a lot of very important points for the rest of the story. One is that Gabriel Angelos is a man who has just taken part in the extermination of an entire planet, which would get anybody else who is like having to work with them a little worried. They've helpfully established what a librarian is. We have Isidore, the confidant and offsider to Captain Gabriel Angelos. And we have a good clear delineation between regular men and the Space Marines. The way the Space Marines think and act and everything like that. And the way they keep gaslighting the Colonel by saying, "You did a really good job." No, shut up. But good job. But also shut up. They do that. Have you sort of noticed that? It's like they'd compliment him, but then they'd say something like really like snide at him straight afterwards as well.
They respect him, but your men, the people that you're responsible for, they all suck, which also means that you suck. So shut up.
Yeah. And that's a pretty good first mission to get everyone into it, I think. And next mission, the game's going to start to open up and show us one of the biggest problems that is with this game. And it's going to be fun to show that off because it's quite a fun mission as well. So we'll see you all in the next episode. I've been TheLastRoboKy.
And I have been Coolguy.
And we will see you in Mission 2.